Well, I love Taiwan as a country. The concerts were wonderful because they were in great halls. Eric Chen, who I played with, was such a lovely guy, and it was great playing with him. And yeah, I mean, it's just like a new world for me to go to Taiwan and travel around the country, and such enthusiastic audiences, which is always inspiring. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. And have you ever been taking part in a competition? These competitions?
Yeah, no, I never did. I mean, I guess I had a slightly unusual kind of upbringing in terms of the violin, because I was at normal school, I wasn't at a music school, and I had my violin teacher outside of school, so I had to balance my education and my playing at the same time. And so I was never part of that competition culture, which I don't. I mean, maybe maybe I missed out. Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But it just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
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 That.
And another one was, what are the 5 most important things in life except the violin?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends how you look at it. I guess the violin is important in a way, but is it the most important thing? I mean, if I broke my finger tomorrow, or someone chopped off my hand, and the violin was the most important thing, then that would be the end of my life.
Yeah, of course.
So I think the most important thing in your life has to be something more than what it is that you do. I think you find real meaning from within yourself, and whether you play the violin, or you're a dancer, or you work in an office, whatever it might be that you do, you express who you are through what you do. So if it's not the violin, it'll be something else if I can't play anymore. So I think the most important things is that connection to who you are inside, and realizing you don't need anything more than that deep connection and that appreciation for who you are in order to be satisfied and fulfilled. If you're too attached to any specific thing in the material world, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment and unhappiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you give a lot of energy through your playing to other people. How do you get something back?
Well, again, I think like in a relationship, if you want a good relationship, you have to be willing to give without getting anything back, because that is really what real love is all about. Yeah. And if you love music and you love performing, you have to have an unconditional love, not a love in order to take what you can take from it, but it's something where you're just giving what you have without any expectation of getting anything back. Which is the same with human beings. If you love somebody but you want them to show them that they love you too, there are going to be a lot of problems along the way. But if you're just saying, whatever that person does, I'm only going to just give them love. I'm going to show them how much I appreciate them, and whatever I get is going to be special when I get it back, because I've got no expectations. And that's the same with performing, and the same with playing. Yeah. You've got to give, and you've got to try not to take too much.
Yeah, and if you had to choose now one piece you want to record, could you tell something?
Well, God, I don't know. I mean, there's so many pieces, but I mean, the Sibelius Violin Concerto is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And there's going to come a time when I want to do that. I'm going to do it justice. But there are a lot of pieces. Gosh, the violin repertoire is so huge, and every piece in it is something that you want to play.
And is there a special period in the music history you like the most?
I don't know. I mean, not every period in the music history is amazing for some reason, and I think to be able to have the diversity and the variety of playing everything is what it's all about. It's not necessarily only doing one thing. So for me, the challenge of being able to engage with all kinds of music from all different times is what's inspiring and fun.
And your violin the Guarneri is on loan when it ends. Can you imagine playing another one, or do you want to continue with this one?
Yeah, I've got a very close relationship with that violin now. It's been many years. We've done a lot of things together, so I can't imagine another one.
You can't imagine another one. So we hope you will get it a bit longer.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, in Oslo and at the Tina at Munch Festival, you played this modern piece from Three Pictures. Yeah. Do you like this stuff, or is it more the traditional things you like?
No, I like, as I said before, it's the variety that makes me develop as a musician, and it challenges me. When you do these contemporary things, you have to see the music in a different way. It's more of a sort of puzzle you're putting together, and you have to somehow create the emotions and the drama from something that isn't necessarily as immediately obvious as if you're playing Tchaikovsky or something like that. You know, and that's a challenge, and that's actually very rewarding when you're able to suddenly, you know, you get past beyond that initial stage of sort of figuring it all out, working it out, and sort of getting used to it, and then suddenly like actually I can really make something exciting with this, and that's when it gets to be you know, wonderful and worthwhile.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're traveling a lot, and how do you cope to practice on when you're traveling?
Well, that's always a challenge, you know. I guess whenever you've got time, you've got to try and do some practice. And of course, practice gets boring sometimes, and you don't feel like doing it. But then you pay the price. So you know, it's a balance always of doing it when you can and staying inspired as well. Because you don't want to practice too much, and then you lose the excitement for it, you know, if you over practice, you know. So there's got to be a balance between obviously being prepared, but not being, you know, losing that special freshness, you know, about the music.
Okay. And yes, is there a difference of playing of the excitement before playing when you have a big audience and with a big orchestra, or a small club like last summer in the Club 100?
Yeah. Very different, as you say. You know, obviously, it's great for a violinist on the big stage with a full orchestra behind you. You know, as you know, you've been there.
Yeah.
You know, there's something special about that, because it's like you're climbing a mountain when you go on the stage, and it's very, very special, rewarding feeling. But then it's very different when you're in an intimate environment and you almost feel like you're part of the audience. You know, because they're so close and you're kind of relating to them directly. Then I think that intimacy sometimes allows you to be a little bit more kind of, I don't know, a softer touch to the music. You know, can bring out these kind of nuances that perhaps on the big stage you can't do, because it's, you know, there's almost a gap between you and the audience, and you have to project to make it work. You know, so there's not as much room for kind of the, you know, varying of the levels in the way that you can in a more kind of, you know, that smaller environment. It's more like chamber music environment.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. Like when you're just doing a recital with Itamar or someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Although, as you know, in Denmark, that was a big hall. So it was a little bit different. You have to, in the big places, even when it's just the piano and violin, you have to be bigger than who you are. You have to reach out of stuff, because otherwise the people in the back of the hall,
they won't hear anything.
Well, it's not even they don't hear it. They don't feel the energy you have. You know, you might feel, God, I've got wonderful energy. It's great. But if it's not even more than that, a lot of people miss it. You know, because in the big rooms you don't get it. Whereas in a smaller room you don't need to do as much, and you can go more into the small moments. You can sort of explore the piano moments, the dolce moments as much. You know, whereas in the big stuff, piano has to be a little bit louder, and you know, espressivo has to be more espressivo. You know, because you have to communicate it right out there. You know, and that's so it's different. You know, you have to adjust in every. Like if you walk in this room, you have to play. You have to think, actually, how am I going to, you know, this room's not going to have a great acoustics. So I have to be a little bit softer. I have to think how I can make it work. You know, every room, the room is as important as the music, because the room is what makes the sound waves reverberate in a special way. And so you have to think about the architecture of the place, the space that's allowing the sound to, you know, exist in the first place, and take that into account to get the best from it.
And one last one is, you're traveling a lot, and your family is traveling also very much. How do you keep in contact, and how often do you see each other?
I see them a lot, actually, because I guess they travel a lot. We meet in different countries, and I speak to them on Skype. You know, and you know, that's just the way the world is now. A lot of people travel so much more. I mean, look at you travel all the time as well. You know, a lot of people travel so much, and that's the modern world, isn't it? That's how we live. You know.
Okay, that was it.
Good.
Thanks very much.